A recent report by Save the Children revealed that every year 1 million teenage girls die or suffer serious injury, infection or diseases due to pregnancy or childbirth. I am Oinola Sali, and today on A Woman's World, we will be discussing the prevalence of teenage pregnancy. Also, we'll meet a lady who has brought smiles to the faces of Liberians. We'll also bring you up to date with the latest headlines in the world of women. On Trends, we'll learn all about healthy eating habits. After all, a healthy life is a wealthy one. Now, onto our issue of the day, teenage pregnancy.
I didn't see any purpose in life because I knew everything was given to me on a silver platter. My life just turned from right to wrong. There's this peer pressure, the fact that you have to do things because your friends do it. I felt pregnant at the age of 17. I was very disappointed in myself at first, even though I knew what I was doing and I knew the consequences.
Teenage pregnancy is a worldwide issue. The problem is that a young girl's body is not ready for childbirth, and getting pregnant before the age of 18 is a risk to both mother and child.
C'est un bassin immature, donc l'accouchement est presque impossible. Et donc toutes ces jeunes filles-là.
Ai zama na taban dai ma do ana yi humburan dia ai ce ga duro ai kan ai hey.
Every day was like a nightmare. I was very scared and I thought I would die. In fact, I wished I died.
One of the causes of teen pregnancy is early marriage. In Africa, marrying off young girls is rooted deeply in some cultures. According to the World Health Organization, in the developing world, 90% of adolescent pregnancies are those of married girls.
Ai maka alkamisa hane iga kuwai amma ai mamaka ne. Ai wai go windi na kwen ai classes for I could Istanbul so haleka irkwa jarga worksine one day the ingeno now I'm a maka I will get ugiro kangine hegandi I send a kalgiri way kangine hegandi kang I go get the albaradi name day baban.
Apart from early marriages, sexual exploitation and peer pressure among adolescent girls are responsible for the increase in teenage pregnancies.
That was what life was all about. A boy takes an interest in you, and you must be very lucky to have someone who professes to love you. One of the things that was expected of me was to express this love by sleeping with this guy. And I thought, oh yes, that's the right thing to do. Why not? So I slept with him.
Why is teenage pregnancy on the rise, despite the resultant consequences?
Ignorance. Most adolescents don't know about it.
Peer pressure and lack of home training, because charity begins at home. Poverty.
Professor Sarah Oloko of the Human Development Initiatives, a non-governmental organization that addresses teen pregnancy in Nigeria, speaks on all the causes.
just have the privilege of interacting with girls in school. I'll give you a typical example. A girl is coming from school from somewhere, going to school, and she needs 200 naira to get to school, and we allow 200 naira to get back. Her mother gives her 100 naira. How does this child manage? So the child looks for ways and means of making up her school fee. She wants to go to school, but she doesn't have the means of transportation. So that at that point, she might be open to temptation. So poverty comes in there. But the major factor is reproductive ignorance. Girls don't know what they should get involved in. And so peer group pressure.
Pregnancy during the teen years can change the lives and futures of the mother and their families. Most times, the men responsible deny their paternity.
I called the father of my child, and he sent me a very harsh message. I couldn't live life like a young child anymore because I had chosen a rather different path. Poverty strikes very hard to the dropouts around here because you drop out of school, you live with your parents, and then later within a stage maybe your parents die, and then you're left alone. You have no matric, no education, and you can't get a job without an education. Therefore, you can't support yourself. And then when you don't have the father of the baby as a supporter, you need finance to care for the baby.
So what's the way forward?
There needs to be much NGO work and much teaching in schools, information sharing in school, targeting teenage pregnancies. Teachers, not just biology teachers. This is something that's so bad that everybody should talk. Whether you teach music, you should find ways of hitting the topic, bring the topic in, and warning girls, boys also, and their partners, warning them that this is a risky business they shouldn't get involved in.
And for the victims,
I realized after a lot of bad mistakes that I made that I deserved better, and that I myself could change my life, nobody else could. I wanted to go back to school because I wanted to study very hard. I wanted to change the lives of my family members if I could in any way. If I get my education, future-wise get a nice job, then I'll be able to give them a better life as well.
A recent study by Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health reveals that better access to healthcare facilities and more effective use of contraceptives could help prevent 272,000 maternal deaths worldwide each year.
That was a lot to take in. Stigmatizing victims of teenage pregnancy is never the way forward. Instead, proper financial, emotional, and mental support should be provided. Coming up, we meet a woman making a difference in the lives of Liberians, and on trends, we look at healthy eating habits. But first, let's see what events made the headlines in this past week. Stay tuned.
The first woman to have a successful womb transplant from a dead donor is pregnant, a hospital in southern Turkey has said. 22-year-old Dea Sir was born without a womb and had been receiving in vitro fertilization treatment after the transplant in August 2011. 1 in every 5,000 women globally is born without a womb, while thousands more have the organ removed due to cancer or other diseases, leaving them unable to get pregnant. When Virat Kohli made the asset declaration required of candidates in Pakistan's May elections, she listed the following items: 2 beds, 5 mattresses, cooking pots, and a bank account holding her life savings of $28 US. While she may lack the fortune that is normally the entry ticket to Pakistani politics, Kohli can make a claim that may resonate more powerfully with poor voters than the familiar promises of her rivals. Kohli's campaign is a symbolic step. 20 years ago, she was a bonded laborer, the term used in Pakistan for a form of contemporary serfdom in which families are made to work for years in sugar plantations, cotton fields, or brick kilns to pay off debts to their owners.
बांडर लेबर पाण हुए असांका जेको ज़ुल्म थिए पियो उहो असांखे ख़बर आहे इन जे करे मूं पाण इहो वोटन में बीहण जो इरादो कयो त अवाम चवे थी त ठीकु आहे असांखे मंज़ूर आहे बांडर लेबर मां आज़ाद थियल हरियाणी बीहे थी इहो ॻाल्हि असांखे वाकई मंज़ूर आहे.
With no rival party to back her, Kohli's independent run may make barely a dent at the ballot box in Sindh, a stronghold of President Asif Ali Zardari's ruling Pakistani People's Party (PPP). 3 engineering students in the Indian state of Chennai have created a GPS-equipped anti-rape device, which they claim will be an instant solution to sexual attacks on women in the country. Resembling a nightgown with the wiring between the breasts, the underwear called Society Harnessing Equipment sends an electric current of 3,800 kilovolt to the assaulter once he attempts to press a woman's body, alerting the police in the process. The students said the idea for the innovation was triggered by the assault on a 23-year-old student who was brutally gang-raped in a moving bus in India last December. Halle Berry, Jada Pinkett Smith, and even Rachel Wood are among the stars who have recorded a new video in support of women's empowerment campaign, Chime for Change. The recently launched Gucci-backed initiative aims to improve women's lives around the world by raising awareness in 3 key areas: education, health, and justice. The new video features views on how social media can help. Chime for Change committee member Salma Haig Pinault agrees.
Social media is definitely a fantastic door.
The campaign's artistic director, Beyonce, also contributes to the video.
And I charm for education.
Beyonce will headline the concert The Sound for Change live in London's Twickenham Stadium on the 1st of June. During her visit to Malawi, international pop star Madonna announced she was selling an abstract painting worth up to $7 million to raise funds for girls' education projects. The painting, by French artist Fernand Léger, is being sold in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and other countries where female education is rare or non-existent. Madonna's plans to build 10 schools in Malawi through her foundation Raised in Malawi have sparked controversy over costs and mismanagement, and the project for a school for 400 girls collapsed last year. Malawi is home to her 2 adopted children.
Water is one of the most important substances on Earth. On Life on Top, we meet Seren Kaba Jones, a woman who made it her life's mission to bring clean water to Liberia.
This used to be the situation in Liberia, but one woman has brought a change. Seren Kaba Jones is a Liberian and the founder of Face Africa, a group working to improve access to clean water in rural Liberia. She was 8 years old when she left the country. As the daughter of a diplomat, Jones went on to live a fairly privileged life abroad, following her family to countries like Ivory Coast, Egypt, France, and Cyprus, before moving to the United States to attend college. She returned to Liberia 20 years after to find a country in desperate need. She then made it her mission to help.
The situation was quite bad, and it still is, although a lot of progress has taken place since I first visited in 2008. So there's still a lot of need, there's still a long way to go, and there's still much work to do. For example, our current focus right now is water and sanitation. We're working to provide clean and safe drinking water to the people of Liberia. About 80 to 85% of the population don't have access to clean and safe drinking water.
She believes that providing clean water is the first step towards developing Liberia.
While there are many urgent issues and challenges that face Liberia, at Face Africa, we believe that providing access to clean water and building clean water systems is the first line of attack for reducing poverty in the country.
Her most fulfilling moments.
To hear from women and children and men in these communities about how grateful they are and how thankful they are and how much the well has changed and impacted their lives. Clean water is not just a matter of life, it's a matter of dignity, and it's a human right.
In recognition of her efforts to create a better Liberia, she has received numerous awards. In 2012, she received the Longines Town and Country Women Who Made a Difference award for her work with Face Africa. She was also recently named a 2013 World Economic Forum Young Global Leader and was listed by The Guardian UK as one of Africa's 25 top women achievers, alongside President Joyce Banda of Malawi and Nobel laureate Leymah Gbowee. Saran believes that women deserve to be given opportunities to become agents of change.
If you give women even more power by arming them with resources and tools and providing them with jobs and opportunities, that trickles down to their entire family, and you'll find that even the men in the households, their husbands, start viewing things differently. So I think there should be more emphasis on empowering women and really giving them the tools that they need to become self-sufficient.
Saran Kaba-Jones has definitely made a huge difference in the lives of Liberians.
Saran Kaba-Jones is indeed a solution provider. Now it's time to learn all about healthy eating habits, the do's and the don'ts of a balanced diet.
At the mention of the term a healthy diet, many people think that the only way to keep healthy is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you rather not. A balanced or healthy diet means getting the right types and amounts of foods and drinks to supply nutrition and energy for the body. The need to eat right can never be overstressed, just like breathing can never be irrelevant. So how does one achieve a healthy diet? Bumi Obanawo met with Iwalola Akinjimo, a nutritionist, and she explains.
One thing I encourage people to do is that reduce the size, reduce the portions. Like, I divided the plate into 3. The carbohydrate is supposed to be 1/3 or even less. Then you have your fruits, your vegetables, which is actually 1/3. And then the other third is provided by meats or nuts, things that are supposed to be high in proteins. The quantity of carbohydrates we actually need to survive is not that huge. It's not that much. And so we need to, start thinking along the lines of, let's divide our plates into 3 and let vegetables be a 1/3 portion. The way we cook actually determines what we get from the food. And so if you're in the habit of cooking with a lot of oil and not healthy oil, we're talking of the likes of palm oil and purified palm oil that we think is actually groundnut oil, which is really not the case. cook with less oil to a very large extent, and reduce, for example, for your vegetables, you don't need to cook for a long period of time. Sometimes we just completely mother the vegetables. You cut them up, boil them, and then squeeze out the water, and then put in the stew, and then cook for another 30 minutes. By the time you finish cooking, there's virtually no vitamins left in that vegetable. You're just taking fiber. That's all you're taking. And so the way you treat your vegetables actually determine what you're going to get from it. For example, I would suggest before you cut up any vegetable, rinse first. And if you really have to rinse after cutting, then just a little bit. Because once you wash a vegetable whole and make sure you get out all the stones, you really don't have to rinse again after cutting up. Because once you've cut up, you've already exposed the vegetable. Vitamins, minerals will leach into the water you're going to use to wash. And so all these are critical things that we need to think about when we're cooking.
She describes a typical meal for the day.
What I do in the mornings most of the time is I have my fairly large bowl of fruits mixed. I have my watermelon, I have pawpaw, I have pineapple, and I have cucumber, all cut up in that bowl for me to eat, because I work very well with fruits. And then I have a mix of also vegetable salad. I have my cabbage, carrots. I have some pieces of chicken just to give me some protein. And I have lettuce all mixed together. But if I wasn't this overweight, you know, what I typically take in the mornings is about 2 slices of yam, moderate slices here, not huge chunks, and I mean slice. And I have a vegetable, it can be spinach, it can be, unfortunately I'm more used to the local names, it can be a protein plant, and I'm good to go for my breakfast. Now, if I've had such a heavy meal in the morning, then my lunch is likely to be light. You know, so what I might take is probably like small rice, very small portion of rice, and have my bean cake or bean paste beside it, which is moi cooked in leaves. You know, it might have some pieces of egg. I don't mind. I love it like that, and maybe some pieces of crayfish inside. I'm fine. And then my dinner can be anything from just a small bowl of cereal. It could be pap. It could be custard. You know, it could be the likes of the cornflakes and Cocoa Pops with some milk, and I'm good to go.
She further emphasized on the need for pregnant women to eat right.
For a normal woman, you keep to the diet you had before you got pregnant. But there's certain foods that is recommended that once you get pregnant, you should eat a little bit more. For example, you should take more fruits, you should take more vegetables, you consume more milk. And as a matter of fact, what a lot of people don't realize is that when you need that variety, that richness in diet the most is the first trimester, which is the first 3 months of pregnancy. Because that is when you have a lot of self-division during pregnancy, and you need to have as much nutrients as possible. And so all these are very critical, but not that you now say you're eating for 2, and so you double the portion of your food. No, that's not what we're talking about. And that's what a lot of people usually say. And it's absolutely not true for you to eat for 2, but rather improve the quality of what you're eating, so that at the end of the day, we're sure that the child, the fetus is getting enough, and also at the same time, the mother is getting enough. The bottom line is, during pregnancy, we women, we lay down fat for breastfeeding much later. And so it's important for you to gain some level of weight, not overweight, but because the fat you're laying down is what you're going to use during breastfeeding. Whatever your age, especially if you're above adolescence, if you're an adult, to eat well, so that much later in life, you have full control of your diet.
One of the most important things you can do to protect yourself from diseases is to make smart food choices and develop a healthy eating habit.
It's good to know that good nutrition promotes a fabulous life. Just before we go, let's inspire you with this quote. In the words of Beverly Sills, there is a growing strength in women, but it's in the forehead, not the forearm. And Nanny McLong says, never underestimate the power of a woman. We'd like to hear from you. Please like our Facebook page, A Woman's World TVC News. Follow us on Twitter Our handle is @TVC Women's World. That's our show for today. Don't forget to tune in next time. I am Oyinlola Sally.